The Bitcoin blockchain is entirely public, which some consider a huge privacy flaw. Enter Bitcoin mixers, aka tumblers. These are tools that jumble up an amount of Bitcoin in private pools before spitting them out to their intended recipients. Joining us now to discuss is CoinDesk research analyst George Kaloudis. Hello there, George. So for CoinDesk Privacy Week, you've written an article that's just gone up on the website on cryptocurrency mixers, which are often associated with illicit activity in the news. But you've looked at the data, and mixer transactions are not prevalent at all.
Yeah, and thanks for having me, Christine. Happy Privacy Week and happy birthday. The internet and banners tell me that today's your birthday, so happy birthday. Yeah, so there's a sort of a long winding path to us getting to talking about mixers, but when people start talking about Bitcoin, after they point to the crazy price appreciation, they tend to point to its anonymity and its implicit promotion of illegal activities on the dark web, money laundering operations, and ransomware attacks. And as you suggested, it's actually not very good for that, right? Bitcoin runs on a public ledger, and we have companies who are in the business of blockchain forensics, and those companies end up providing data that can literally quantify the amount of illicit activity that is carried out on Bitcoin. So like you said, we have mixers. So there is a way for people to put money into a mixer, and on the other side comes out scrambled Bitcoin, Bitcoin that doesn't have an identity attached to it. But if we just look at the data straight up right now, we saw that 65,000 Bitcoin was mixed in January 2021, which is an all-time high, which sounds like a lot, but when you consider that 18 million Bitcoin was transacted in that same month, that's really lower than a percentage point. So my take is that part of this overall lack of adoption can be due to exchanges blocking withdrawals to the privacy-preserving Bitcoin wallets, such as the Wasabi wallet and the Samurai wallet, which enable coin joins, which is the way people mix Bitcoin. And quite frankly, some exchanges are wishy-washy about accepting this, tainted Bitcoin that has been mixed.
I wonder who is using these services, and you mentioned some of the applications what are the most popular applications?
Yeah, so you can't really tell, right? That's the great part about privacy, is that people want privacy for many different reasons. I would like to take the stand here and say that privacy is a human right. And quite frankly, it's kind of interesting that Bitcoin is touted as incredibly private, but it doesn't even provide you the same privacy feature that a general bank account will provide you. And what I mean by that is you could have a lot of friends and family that, may be a little bit interested in what you're buying or maybe how much money you have. No matter how hard they try, they can't call your bank and say, hey, how much money does George have? Hey, what did Christine buy the other day? I want to see if she bought me a certain birthday present or something. With Bitcoin, theoretically, if I found out what your Bitcoin address was, Christine, or if you found out what mine was, you would have found out that, I went to Harris Theater or my local grocery store and I sent you a cake for your birthday, and that would ruin the surprise. So now with Bitcoin mixers, you can actually have that level of privacy. So in my head, a lot of people talk about people using Bitcoin mixers for, illegal purposes. But if we just spin that and put it on its head and say people should have the right to privacy and bad people are going to do bad and illegal things anyway, I should have the right to, to mix my Bitcoin and you can't see what I'm doing, right? That's fine. I'm not doing anything bad.
Is it illegal or it's totally
gray area? It depends on the jurisdiction.
Okay.
I would say it's not.
And can Bitcoin through mixers still be tracked in some way, though?
In a way, yes. If you don't mix, when people do coin joins, which is the mixing way you mix Bitcoin, you have to do it more than once. Otherwise, you can still, with some very sophisticated algorithms, figure out what is going on. And it's actually part of the path for more privacy in the Bitcoin space. Is we saw people talking about Taproot happen at the end of last year. And a lot of people on social media promised a lot of things with Taproot, and a lot of people were talking about privacy. In reality, Taproot was not that big of a deal on its own because it wouldn't enable that many privacy features. But what it does enable is a technical foundation for developers to come in and start building more tools. And one of those things it'd be able to do is enable something called cross-input aggregation of signatures, or CISA, which is like the pretty way of saying it. And that actually will make coin joins cheaper and even more private than they are now. So there is still a lot of work to be done on the side of coin joins and new technology coming into play.